chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes. Ooh, episode 234. How about that? And, as for, among other things, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc. And all the way in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Granite City Studios, Vault, Shield. What's going on there? Shield.
You know, it's hard to believe a couple of weeks ago, I think we were more concerned about whether or not we were going to make it through the quote-unquote spring with these snowstorms that rolled through. Now we're at a point, it's like, okay, do I freeze my ass off in the morning and sweat it out in the afternoon by wearing shorts or pants? I don't know. I can't win. I'm going to try and risk it tomorrow. I'm going to wear shorts. It's supposed to be in the upper 50s, so I'm going to give it a go tomorrow. We'll see how it all turns out. Wish me the best of luck.
So that was breaking news. So there you go. Breaking news. Voldy will be wearing shorts tomorrow. If you see him around St. Cloud, he will be wearing shorts. You will be pulling, as we would say back at SMSU, you are pulling a Coombe. You are absolutely pulling a Ryan Coombe.
All weather. All weather.
Doesn't matter. All weather. If it's negative 10, Coombe's wearing shorts. Don't matter.
There was always that one guy you could always count on. It used to be Seth Olson. He'd be walking around in shorts and a white tee, 20 below in Marshall. But I mean, Coombe was the same as well. So
and the weird thing about that is like it didn't affect him. The wind didn't affect him. I mean, Marshall's one of the windiest towns in the nation. I mean, it's crazy in itself. So
Baruto.
Yeah. But you know what else is brutal, unfortunately? Those damn twins, those T-Wolves, it's tough. It's really tough. And even for the Wild, Voldy, the Wild, they lost Eck not too long ago. They lost Kaprizov, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. They are, in fact, playing tonight for the Minnesota Wild. Kaprizov, Dala, or excuse me, got to do it right. Dala, Bill Kirill, baby. He is back, as well as Joel Eriksson Ek. They're taking on the Sharks tonight and at the XL Energy Center. So we have a lot to talk about. We're going to go with Wolves, we're going to go Wild, and then we're going to go Twins. The Twins spiraling. I mean, I'd say I'm shocked, but I'm not. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, there's a lot to be said with that. So we'll hold our thoughts on for that because we got a lot to get to with hot take, 3 hot takes tonight. So we got to get through them as efficiently as we can. But tonight we are going to the Temple of Wisdom for Voldy's Virtues tonight. Voldy is going to be talking about how the NBA is quote unquote cancerous. Very interesting. Voldy is going to let you know why he thinks so from that. And then ARA, Voldy's got it ready for us. We are talking about Ovi. He nets 895. All-time goal king, alexovechkin. And if you've been on the socials medias and you've been seeing this, bands will make a dance. Oh, it's so funny, especially with Ovi doing that. So more on that, ARA. And then treylance from the CFL back to the NFL. He is signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. We've got some thoughts on that. We'll give it to you here later on with ARA. And then MLB news, Vladi Jr. agreed to a 14-year, $500 million deal with the Jays.
Damn.
That is huge. Lots of money.
Damn.
So he is making bank there. Good for him. We'll talk about that. And then lamarjackson, Dale Jr., they're battling over number 8. The number 8. We'll chat about that as well. And to round things off, Augusta, yes, Voldy's favorite time of year. Back to Augusta. The golf fans on the Twitter sphere that think that they watch golf all the time end up don't watching golf at all.
I'm already incensed about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I understand. Yeah, it's cool. It's fine. Okay.
I can't wait.
Save it for later.
Yeah, we'll save it for later. We got to save it for later. So, with that being said, that's what we got on deck. And obviously, you know the deal. Shield shoutouts later on. Voldy's got some shield shoutouts to get to as well. So, without further ado, let's get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, we start off Tater Tot Hot Take tonight with the Timberwolves. Now, the Wolves have been playing really well as of late until last night. The Timberwolves were up in the third quarter. I believe it was by at least 20, if I'm not mistaken. They had a 99.9% chance to win the game at the end of the third. And they just let their foot off the gas. They took their foot off the Bucks' neck, and they let Giannis and Bobby Portis and all these other guys go wild on them in the fourth quarter, losing to the Milwaukee Bucks. Last night, 110 to 103. There's nothing left to say but disappointment. I mean, we're all disappointed in that effort in the fourth quarter. When I got the notification, I actually threw the game on just because I'd have it on in the background doing some other stuff, obviously, stuff for this show, especially. And then all of a sudden, I walk away for a second. I come back, it's 95-87, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? What's going on here? I'm so confused. And all of a sudden, they're turning over the ball. They're not making the shots that they were the first three quarters. And all of a sudden, the Bucks are just kicking their ass. And in the fourth quarter, they were outscored 40-13. Not good. I mean, this is definitely deflating. The Wolves are on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game winning streak before this all happened. It could have been 6, but unfortunately it is not. So, this doesn't get any easier for the Wolves because they do play Memphis on Thursday or tomorrow at 8:30. So, Voldy, I asked this, and I asked this of the zoners as well. With that loss yesterday, I mean, and they're sitting at the 8th spot right now. Are we concerned about these last 3 games with the Wolves? I mean, can they move up from where, because all these teams are all clumped together, and it's tough.
Yeah.
So I think beating Memphis, this is an absolute must-win, no ifs, ands, or buts. What do you think going into this game with Memphis? And first, what are your thoughts on the game against Milwaukee here yesterday?
Yeah, The game against Milwaukee was a real tough one to take just because of the fact that the Timberwolves are in such a position right now, the way things are playing out in the conference. I'm sure we're going to talk about that here in just a moment, that every win here is more crucial, and they've been playing really well here down the stretch. A 5-game win streak. You're going against Milwaukee. Of course, Milwaukee's no slouch themselves. They're 5th in the Eastern Conference right now, which is definitely going to be a good mix for them in that Eastern Conference. But the West is just completely out of control right now, as we see. I mean, 3 through 8 is only a 2-game separation with 3 games to go for some teams, including the Timberwolves, including a pivotal matchup against Memphis coming up here. That's going to be even more crucial because they could leapfrog them and very well play themselves up to the number 5 seed. If not, the way things could possibly turn out, they could end up in some sort of configuration, end up as the number 3 seed in the conference if they win out and get some help here down the stretch. With that all being said, the game against Milwaukee, that was just, it definitely felt like maybe they were kind of coasting there, knowing the fact that, they have got bigger things to look at, and maybe they were just looking a little too far ahead in their schedule as opposed to focusing on what's right in front of them to quite possibly, move their way up in the Western Conference standings, while Milwaukee is trying to build as much momentum as they can in the Eastern Conference. I mean, right now they are a few games back. I don't think they are going to be able to catch up to Indiana for the 4 seed. So they're just trying to bolster as much as they can heading into the playoffs as well. Just a tough loss overall for the Timberwolves there, as they could use as much help as they can in the West.
Well said. I do have another thing to bring up because I actually was talking with this person. I was on the good old Snapchats. A lot of people are on these days. And there was a person at the game. Do you know who that was, Voldy?
The game against Milwaukee. I felt like
in
I
Milwaukee.
knew somebody. In Milwaukee. Oh.
So this game was in Milwaukee. Yeah, this game was in
Milwaukee. So that one kind of hurts a little bit more. Well, there's a couple people I know that attend Milwaukee Bucks games regularly.
There's a guy that we just had on, actually.
Oh, was Munson at the game?
Munson was at the game. And I quote, let me quote. I said, if they lose, I'm blaming you. And guess what? They were up. I was like, okay, Cole's a good luck charm here. Cole was absolutely not a good luck charm at all. He let this happen. For some odd reason, he had to be at that game, and he made this team lose. It's his fault. It's him and his Ricky Rubio beliefs. I can't believe it.
Whatever Munson says, do the exact opposite of, and you're going to come out just fine.
You are exactly right. That is.
I don't know how Mrs. Munson puts up with it. I
don't get how Alyssa puts up with it. I don't get it either.
She seems like a nice gal.
She is. She very much is. But I just I blame him for this whole loss and whatnot. But one thing I do want to bring up, and there was a national basketball championship that happened. And the Florida Gators took on the Houston Cougars, the Cougs, Keenum's old stomping grounds.
Alma mater. Yes, sir.
That's right. Hunt, who was a big Gator fan. Gator boys stay hot. Go Gators, national champs. Congratulations to the Gators. They played well. I did have them winning in one of my brackets, so I am quite happy about that. There's always next year. Again, every bracket's going to get busted at some point.
Through the Sweet 16, I was leading in a couple of different bracket challenges I was part of.
Yeah.
And then literally I maxed out and I finished in last place in those bracket challenges. So it's not about how you start. It's how
you finish. I love it. Yeah.
I rolled too high in my Missouri Tigers to make it all the way to the Sweet 16. They got bounced in the first round, so...
They almost won that game, too, if I'm not mistaken.
They almost won the game.
Yeah.
And I always pick the Ivy League. Why did I pick the Ivy League?
I know. Ivy League is so tough to call. I mean, there's times where they're going to dominate, and there's times where they get their asses kicked. And it's
the
like,
maternities know how to play ball. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so going back to the Wolves here, there are a number of factors that kind of happened with it. I don't think it's just one thing. People keep bringing up that they switched to a zone defense. And I did watch how they did that. And, I know that there's lengthy players on this team. You have a Giannis. You have guys like Portis and everything like that. They're good players. They're, and the Wolves just were like, we don't know what to do. It's like you guys have been playing basketball for this long. You don't know how to get by a 2-3 zone, 3-2 zone, whatever. I think it was 2-3. And they completely just went off the rails and turning the ball over. McDaniels, I think Mike Conley had one. I mean, it just snowballed, and their defense wasn't as good. They just kind of coasted. The only player that I thought during that stretch that was playing well was DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo was hitting his shots. He was getting to the basket and whatnot. There was a lack of urgency with this team. And, they cannot afford to do that again. And this was a wake-up call to say, you cannot let your foot up off of the gas, because that's what's going to happen. There's teams that are going to surge back and, try to get back in this game. And the thing is, they not just got back in the game. They beat you bad towards the end. I mean, 23-0 run and everything like that. And, they didn't move like Finch even said on this, we didn't move the ball. We over-surveyed. When we did make the pass to the middle floor, it was late. And then turnover. 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That is unacceptable. So, Finch says, he goes, it's on me. I got to get us better shots. I don't think this is necessarily I wouldn't say fully on Finchy. I think it's on some of these players who thought they were just going to coast. And the Bucks are a team that are in the playoffs. They're not going to coast. They're actually going to care and actually play. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is absurd. You cannot just assume that this is going to be a walk in the park, and it wasn't. And they proved it to you. If you want to you could have been a 4 seed if you would have won this game. So this is really bad. I mean, it's not good, and especially when you drop down to the 8th. And now you got to play Memphis, who, yes, they got rid of their coaches and everything, but they're starting to play well. So this is very crucial for them to start getting it together. And they have to get it together quick, because they are, going into Memphis tomorrow. So, I'm looking right now kind of at the standings for them. And I don't like where they're at. I think every team that played on yesterday jumped them. They all won. It's like, what the hell just happened? So now they're in this situation where it's like, now you got to beat Memphis. You beat Memphis, you move back up to 7. You got to hope that, like, Golden State or Denver or the Clippers are 4. What is this? This is ridiculous. The Lakers, they're still kind of within that mix too. So
amazing what happens when Kawhi Leonard is finally healthy.
Yeah, no kidding. That's crazy.
Healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Voldy, I think we said 7th seed. Or no, did we say 6? I think we all said 6, didn't we?
No, Munson said 6. I said 7 for sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so one of the
be
two.
Nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice just how the last few games will play out. If they beat Memphis, that's going to leapfrog them, very much into beyond. I mean, they could very well end up as the 5 seed at that point, just the way the math is all mathing out right now, because you got 4 teams, if not 5 teams tied for, that are in the, at the same record and everything too. They could very well, if they win out, and which would be fantastic if they won out, they could very well end up as the 5 seed. Just, I'm stupid when it comes to stuff like this, but I'm just going to say if they win out, they end up as the 5 seed. So that would be fantastic.
So just win out.
Get out of the play-in. Yeah, just any way to get out of the play-in and just go from that. Because they could use the rest.
I don't even trust them in the play-in. Because I mean, definitely. with that loss, that just kind of encapsulates what we're concerned about. But yeah, I think this is an absolute. I mean, I know all these games right now are must win. We get it, but this game I feel is crucial. If they're gonna show that they're gonna make noise, win this damn game or tomorrow. So this is very crucial for them. So. We will keep you in tune with that. We've got a lot to talk about in regards to those Wolves. So our next team that we got to get to is the Minnesota Wild. Kaprizov, Eriksson, Ek, they are back. Yes, one last claps to put out. There they are. They just dropped the puck against the Sharks tonight. It is very crucial that they get a dub tonight. And looking at their current situation, which I think they're 4 points ahead of the Calgary Flames, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So they do have that last spot. They just got to keep winning. One
way or another, keep getting points.
Yep, and they play Friday at Calgary, so that's going to be an important one. Yep. At Vancouver and at home against Anaheim. So, Voldy, I asked this of you. The reinforcements that the Wild are getting, finally getting. Are they going to make an impact here in the playoffs? Are they going to finally, kind of have some momentum going into these playoffs, knowing we got Kaprizov, we got Eriksson Ek? Are they going to, make some noise? Are they going to get out of that damn first round with these guys back in the lineup? What do you think?
I mean, with 4 games to go in the regular season, if they stay healthy and obviously coming back after a very long extended streak here, I mean, into this new year of 2025 in the back half of the season, I would certainly feel that they would provide a little bit of added punch. We've seen how things have played out with a lot of the young guys, Rossi and also Voldy kind of shouldering the burden when it comes to scoring and then just doing a complete mishmash of everybody else. Zuccarello, I mean, even Foligno's gotten into the mix a little bit, but probably not as heavily as they probably wanted it out of him so far. But now getting that added depth back with Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek is going to be huge here. You look at the remaining schedule, San Jose completely out of it. Now, if they win tonight or pick up a point tonight and they straight up beat Calgary on Friday, that would lock up, I'm pretty sure that would lock up that second wild card spot. So it all starts with here tonight, obviously, against San Jose, who is last in the conference and probably last in the league overall, playing for a lottery pick at this point. So they wouldn't mind taking a couple more on the chin for, another season. Then you got Vancouver, who's definitely on the outside looking in. They need a lot of things to go their way to even sniff a wild card spot. And then you've got Anaheim, who is also eliminated from playoff contention. So I feel like now with this, with Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson Ek coming back, it's going to be helpful, but a lot of time has been since those guys have been on the ice and made an impact for the Wild, and a lot of things have happened since. So they're going to have to get their feet underneath them, and they're going to have to get going quick here, especially now with a playoff push in store for the Wild here, just trying to hang on to that second wild card spot.
So let me ask this of you, since, with the Granite City Lumberjacks, you calling games for them and everything, being around them. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take both those guys to finally kind of be comfortable out there on the ice? Is it going to take a couple games? Is it going to take till the end of the regular season for them to start, okay, we're feeling better, Is it just going to be kind of a progression thing? What do you think?
I feel like it'll be more of a progression thing because obviously I would imagine these guys have been on the ice practicing together and just getting it's a lot more about getting comfortable once again and getting that timing down to a little bit of just knowing where your guys are and just trying to get back into the flow of things. It might not even take a whole game. It may take a couple of shifts, if not a period or two, for them to get fully back and acclimated. It's just to what extent of said previous injuries are they just going to let it go and let it hang loose and go from there, or are they going to be a little bit more cautious, knowing, hey, we got to go, we got to give about 85% here, save a little bit for the playoffs coming up. But if we don't go 100%, how's that going to look out on the back end of everything? It may take a period or two for them to get adjusted, if at all. I'm sure once they get on the ice and, get a couple of passes towards them, I feel like they'll be able to work out just fine.
Good to know, because I'm just like, how long does it take for them to, like hockey players to finally be like coming off of an injury and, things like that. So it's
well, these guys are the best players in the world, too.
Right.
So obviously it's not going to take them all that long. And also of note, too, Calgary does play Anaheim tonight at 9:00. Okay. So we could very well see it the Wild win tonight and, Calgary loses. That puts them in a very prime spot here for the Wild in one way or another. But again, Anaheim just got eliminated from the playoff contention. They're right at 500. They're not going to win anything here tonight. So definitely a lot of scoreboard watching at the end of the Wild game.
Yes. 100%. And, right now they're at 0-0. Fleury's in net tonight, so the flower is ready to roll here for the Minnesota Wild. But, I think, just from my perspective, I think this is going to help them coming up, or especially with the playoffs, coming through here. Now, I do want to quick talk about that game against Dallas. I mean, they were on a really long losing streak before they finally got, the win against Dallas. And Dallas is probably going to be the team to beat in the conference, don't get me wrong. Right. But that kind of shows that there's some fight with this team. Not saying that they're going to, they're going to, beat the Stars if they, play them or, this. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that they're a team that I feel this year they've taken on a lot of things have been thrown at them. And actually they've managed quite well with, not saying that, it's going to be this. I think with Kaprizov coming back, it's great, but they've managed without him well. I think that is one thing that they've done really well, or really, have flourished even, and is keeping them within the within range of the playoffs. And this is, that's great. Now, the question is, can they, take on these teams? And I think the main thing is can you beat a Stars team? Can you beat the Colorado Avalanche? I mean, it remains to be seen. No ifs, ands, or buts, but this is a positive step for the Wild, and especially this offseason, I think is going to be one of the biggest off seasons for them, no matter how this turns out. So this with Dollar Bill, he's in good standing to try to add the much-needed offense, because I feel like a lot of pressure's been on Voldy and some of these other guys to, make plays. Now that you have Kaprizov out there, I mean, that kind of sets teams uneasy, because they're like, what's he going to be like? And then, they're going to over-prepare for him, and then all of a sudden you're leaving, guys like Voldy and Zuccarello and these guys open, come on when they're on offense too. So another factor in the Blues, they're at 93 points as well. So they, however that turns out, the Wild could hop them if they keep winning, but they just gotta get them points. That's all that it comes down to. So Kaprizov played in 3 games since December 24th and hasn't played since January 26th.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeesh. So, and then Ekla's, February 22nd. So,
that's crazy. I mean, just looking at how things are kind of laying out, and, I'm a guy that always looks at the goaltending situation. The fact that Philip Gustafson has started 13 of the last 14 games for the Wild, and Flower hasn't played since what we were talking before the show, since March 25th, where the early goings of the season is about every 3, 4, 5 games that Flower would be in net. I mean, that is a lot of time in between. I know we're at the back half and the long tail end of a long season, regular season, gearing up for the playoffs. I don't know. I would imagine Gustafson would be the starter, but weirder things have happened with, of course, the Wild and their goaltending over the years of saying, oh, yeah, we're going to, start quote unquote the backup for the season, a series opener or whatever. Ah, man, all those starts that you pile on top of Gustafson could rear its ugly head at the back end too. And another thing I'm looking at here, and one thing that the Wild have surely been missing out of Kaprizov and Erikssonek, is goal scoring. You look at the goal differential between all teams that are lined up for playoffs, including the Wild, who are in the second wild card spot. The Wild are the only team that have a negative goal differential. Everybody else is, plus whatever. The Wild have given up 12 more goals than they have actually scored, while everybody else has scored more than they've given up. So that's something of concern here, at least from my perspective, given the fact that this is a playoff caliber team that's just kind of skidding by right now.
So no score update, still 0-0 for the Wild. Another thing to factor in, Middleton is day-to-day after that only a 2-minute, not a 5-minute major that he had on that one hit. I can't remember which game it was. I can't remember who they were playing, but he is day-to-day, so hopefully they can get him back because they desperately need their defenseman as well. So hopefully he gets back here soon. So we'll keep an eye on the Wild game. Another game that is going on, even though it hasn't been good. The Minnesota Twins. They are in fact spiraling. It's in the lower third. Voldy, I just don't even know what to say at this point with this team because I don't need to go over all the reasons. I've explained this on the show for however long. Right. Everything's bad. The hitters that are supposed to be, that we're paying all this money aren't getting it done. I think Correa's only hitting 150. I think Buxton's only hitting, if that. He has a home run. They've done a little bit better. They do have Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee starting to come back and whatnot. But, I mean, this is unacceptable. I think this is Rocco being fired written all over it. If they lose tonight against the Royals, I think that seat's getting even hotter because this is I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't know what to say, but they're playing like crap. They can't. They're
absolutely
3 errors yesterday against the Royals. Griffin Jacks can't make a throw to first. Yeah. I mean, what are we? I mean, this is insane.
Are the best athletes on the field.
Yeah, this is just it's just so bad, and not only that, but the manager doesn't know when and when not to get ejected. And he was complaining about the pitch clock, and he got tossed in one of the games the other day. I mean, Rocco, everyone sees through your facade, all right? Look, you're not fooling anybody. You're saying, well, I'm sticking up for the players, about the pitch clock.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. You're a fraud. You are a fraud. I'm sorry. Rocco Baldelli, fraud. He needs to go. Voldy, anything you would like to add with this? I don't need to even go on because I'm just going to freak out.
It's just amazing how Rocco picks his battles when to get ejected, because obviously it's not working out so well right now for the team to start off the year, and there's just so much. The injuries have killed them, and you feel like you would think that Obviously, Royce Lewis, Brooks Lee being hurt to start off the year. Not ideal, but you would feel like you'd be able to reciprocate or at least build some sort of lineup around it. And sadly, the Twins haven't. The pitching's let them down. The defense has let them down. The hitting surely hasn't even been much of a factor to even let them down in the first place. And this just continues to go time and time again. And now I just saw that Walker Jenkins, the top prospect for the Twins, is already hurt too with a sprained ankle. I swear, we need to just not name a top prospect and just say the guy's fairly good and he'll be healthy his whole career, because all these guys that we get that end up being the top prospect in the Twins organization end up becoming, made of glass and just fall apart as soon as they even sniff the possibility of making it to the majors. Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, and now Walker Jenkins. Add him to the list and just wrap everybody in bubble wrap and call it a day. I mean, the seat is definitely getting much, much warmer. And that 25 to 35 game stretch here for Rocco Baldelli is going to be very interesting if he even makes it that far. With the way the season has started for the Wild, or for the Twins, I should say.
It's one thing to say, okay, Boad's selling the team, once they sold the team, Rocco's probably gone. No, I think you have to do this even sooner. I mean, it's clear that the message isn't getting through to them, and it's like, well, it's early and everything like that. This man, Rocco Baldelli, had the gall to say that he wants a effing parade in Minnesota. He wants to see all family and friends and the whole state saying, oh, yeah, see, we just love the Twins. This is all great and dandy. You almost lost a series to the worst team in baseball last year, being the White Sox. They're not even supposed to be a factor in this at all. And the Royals already have your number right now. They've beaten you twice. You're at Kansas City, and you have literally dropped the ball. You guys are so full of shit. I'm sorry. I have to say it. This is not what any of us expected. We were promised, the bullpen's going to be one of the best in the league. They're going to be great. The relief pitcher couldn't even make a throw to first. He airmailed it. He can't even get that freaking right. And then you have guys that we're paying all this money to not hit the ball. Correa, I'm sorry, I'm calling you out. You are a proponent to that. And Byron Buxton. All these promises that they make and the effing parade, you wanted to set the record straight, saying we're trying to play for championships here. Granted, I know every team at the start of every season wants to say, but you do not say that. You don't say that, and you have it leak to the socials medias, and you start out like this. Because you know what that tells me? You can't walk the walk and you can't talk the talk. So this is awful. And the thing is, it's like every passing day I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, when is enough going to be enough for them to say, Rocco, you're out, you're done. This isn't working. You don't know what the hell you're doing, because he doesn't. Just saying. All right. Anyway, they do have 1-0 lead, so that's a positive, but that could be gone lickety-split, because they blew a lead against the Astros on Sunday, and they were up 7-1. So that's, anyway. That's going to do it for Tater Tot Hot Take. A lot of negativity with that, and I think we're going to keep going with it with virtues tonight. And remember, for ARA, we've got a lot as well. Ovi breaking the record. We've got treylance going to the Chargers. Talk about that. We got Vladi, 14-year, $500 million deal. And we got lamarjackson versus Dale Jr., battle over number 8. And then to round things off, we're going to make some predictions with the Masters coming up here starting tomorrow. We've got a lot to talk about in regards to that. So Voldy's going to talk about the NBA. It's been quite cancerous, according to Voldy. So let's head to the Temple of Wisdom and be enlightened by Voldy's knowledge.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's virtues.
All right, we are in the Temple of Wisdom. So Voldy, please enlighten us with your knowledge.
Well, of course, I'm going to talk about a subject that I am very well versed in, and it's the NBA, believe it or not. And, well, the NBA has not done itself a whole lot of favors really this whole season. And am I really surprised by any of it? None whatsoever. And I'm going to be talking about why the NBA is cancerous. Of course, the latest news that came out as of last night that Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets is being relieved of his duties, as well as the general manager. This coming 2 seasons after he led the Denver Nuggets to an NBA championship, believe it or not. And now with that firing makes it the 4th coach in the last 6 seasons that has led his team to the NBA finals that are no longer with the team that they won a championship with. This is not even just teams that made the finals. This is the team that actually won a championship in the last 6 seasons. 4 head coaches are no longer with the team. That includes Nick Nurse of the Toronto Raptors back in 2019, Frank Vogel of the pandemic bubble-led LA Lakers in 2020, Mike Budenholzer of the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021, and now Mike Malone of the 2023 Denver Nuggets. All 4 of those coaches have won a championship, and now they're no longer even with the team. In fact, some of these teams are on their 2nd, if not 3rd coaches since they won a title in that same time frame. This is just completely ridiculous because of the fact that this is another classic example of the pure toxicity that is the NBA and how it continues to spiral even further down thanks to their god-awful TV ratings and just some classic examples of why the NBA is cancerous and just plain awful. Of course, we always talk about professional sports when it comes to parity and also teams within the league, how it works year in and year out. With the NFL, with the Major League Baseball, and even with the NHL as well, you find a lot of parity. Some of the teams that were the best the year prior aren't always exactly the same. Teams find ways to get better. Some teams find a way to move up their way, the ladder, and find ways to get even better. The NBA takes that concept and throws it completely out the window. They are more focused on getting all their best players onto one team and creating these super teams to hopefully win 37 championships in the next 15 years. Doesn't work out like that at all. Of course, we've seen it before in the past when we had the Lakers load up with guys. Of course, even this year, you see Luka Doncic gets traded from Dallas to Los Angeles. You've seen the iterations of, with Phoenix and, them getting Kevin Durant and bringing him to Phoenix, of course, from Brooklyn. Even the likes of, when the Nets tried to build up their way with Kyrie, with James Harden, with Kevin Durant as well, try to build up those guys and at least build up a super team. The results never outweigh the means. And it just continues to build this concept of building these super teams doesn't exactly lead their way to winning a championship. Last time an actual super team won a championship, I don't know exactly. If you want to go back to maybe the Lakers in the bubble, maybe if you want to call that a super team. If not, you had Anthony Davis, you had LeBron. I mean, there are a couple of guys there, but you look back, I want to go all the way back to the big 3, if not the big 4, with, of course, the Celtics and KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. You want to throw in, of course, with the Miami Heat of Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James too. Beyond that, there hasn't been even a good example, and we're looking at almost 15 years since stuff like that actually weighed itself together because they had actual deep teams enough to build around, as opposed to we're going to put 3 guys on the floor. They're going to do all the work. All these other guys, give them the ball, get the hell out of the way. Super teams don't work. Another example of why the NBA is just awful. Let's talk about load management. A tale as old as time. Load management is completely dumb and absurd. Sure, guys get tired. Sure, back-to-backs on a West Coast trip for an East Coast team. That does a lot of damage. I'm sure it does. But you've got people traveling left, right, and center, sometimes across oceans and even through the space-time continuum to see their favorite player play remotely close to the city that they can get to that has an NBA franchise maybe once a year, maybe once every 5 years. That person could come watch LeBron play. And it just so happens that maybe LeBron is in Charlotte or something like that. They still have a team. Yes, Charlotte still has a team. You know, the Lakers are in Charlotte, and somebody from South Carolina comes their way. Somebody from Mississippi drives all their way up to, see LeBron play against the Hornets. Oh, LeBron's out of the lineup. What a wasted effort in the NBA trying to give guys rest without going through the proper channels. I just feel like that the whole load management scheme, if you will, is just not even a proper ploy to get these guys the proper time and effort that they need to put themselves out there. And I'm sure that there are guys out there that would like to play more, but physically probably couldn't play more if their hearts even were in the game to begin with. Another problem that I have with when it comes to the NBA is the inconsistency in punishment of repeat offenders and even new offenders. We know the story of Draymond Green. We're not going to be talking about Draymond. More recently, we're talking about Ja Morant. Of course, the troubles that he has off the court with wielding firearms on social media live does not help his cause at all. And now the other night, him celebrating by pulling one thing out and letting him know he keeps that thing on him when celebrating a big shot. Where's the fine? Where's the suspension on top of it? I don't get it. This guy's a repeat offender. You've had multiple times to tell him, hey, stop that, knock it off. And, they've sure have said if he does it again, he'll get suspended. But how many times do you got to say, and you got to let him know that stuff like this does not happen anymore? The days of Gilbert Arenas bringing a gun inside the arena and him getting basically blackballed out of the NBA from that point and still rears its ugly head. You've got Ja Morant basically making a mockery of all the time and effort that the players and safety commission or committees or whatever that leads to said punishments, and he's just laughing in their face by continuing to brandish said hand weapon and celebrating a shot. I don't get it when it comes to putting out there all the trouble that we've had and just putting these guys out there and saying that people are watching this, and you're not setting a good example for itself. If it should have been, honestly, he, had said celebration, should have been at least a 2 or 3 game suspension. You go through the appeal process, he gets 1. Go from that point, move it on forward. Nothing pisses me off more about the NBA. One word, multiple times. Drama, 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 drama. I mean, just how much longer do we have to go through before these guys... And again, it's been said before in the past and other more social standards. Exactly. Shut up and dribble. That's all you got to do. Yes, I know, of course, the political ramifications, the social justice, and everything that, you want to make yourself a role model. Shut up and play basketball, please. I'm so sick of this drama behind the scenes, how it affects play on the court and teams that are just trying to play basketball. Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler down in Miami. Of course, everything behind the scenes with Pat Riley and Spoelstra and just trying to get him to shut up and play basketball. It just continues to go and go and go. You got guys that don't want to be in certain places. You've got guys that are dying to get their way out. You've got teams that want nothing to do with said players. Trade them, shut up, move on, or shut up and play basketball. I'm so tired of the NBA just allowing this to happen without getting a chance to step in and say, knock it off. Another thing I have a problem with is that the fact we are now in this time and effort as we are in the, of course, the back half of the career, if not the final years of LeBron James there has yet to be a guy that really has come forward and say to be the new face of the league. Of course, LeBron was a guy like that for a while. Kobe Bryant, I could probably say, was probably the last real guy to be a face of the league. Of course, even in the time when LeBron was and Kobe were going back and forth, both very adamant about being said faces of the league. But LeBron's not going to be playing forever. He could go a few more years at the most, but who's going to be that guy to step up? I mean, we've seen guys show some glimpses and some flashes, but nobody wants to take the mantle and step forward to be said guy, which leads me to my last and final point of the me, not we. Of course, you look at how teams have all come together here to win a championship. It ends up being a complete team effort, but yet we're in a time in a society now, especially in the NBA, where it's more focused on getting clicks and clout as opposed to team and effort. All these guys are out here trying to get as much effort as they can when it comes to how's my social media, how's my feed going along, what's the algorithm saying about me. If my brand is, how's my branding doing? Do I got another, advertisement coming my way, and brand association? Everybody's focused on trying to make sure that they're taken care of without looking at the greater picture of saying, how's the team doing when I'm, being a consistent factor in the lineup? The entire NBA itself. And I remember when Adam Silver first stepped into the league as commissioner of basketball was around the time Donald Sterling was having himself a field day on and off the court, or at least in and out of the arena with the Clippers. And he not only pulled out that thing, he unloaded a clip into Donald Sterling and gave him the way out, kicked him right in the ass, out the door. And we have yet to hear of Donald Sterling ever since then. Adam Silver and the NBA as a whole, the commissioner and the commissioner's office need to take a much stronger stance in correcting a lot of the issues that continue to rear its ugly head. But yet, you look at Adam Silver, and he's in bed right now with Kim Kardashian. Not literally, because that's a picture that nobody needs to see. Of course, with Kim Kardashian.
I've been here the whole time.
Of underwear, the Skims brand being the official underwear of the NBA, and of course saying that the classic video of saying, I'm not going to show you, but I do have them on right now. Not me, that's Adam Silver saying he's got on the Skims brand. All of these factors have led to some of the most brutal examples for fans and some of these players coming up into the league and even just getting into the sport of basketball. There cannot be any other reasons why that the NBA ratings are so low, and the numbers that just continue to circle down the drain, except maybe until the playoffs come rolling around, because of the fact that the NBA playoffs is exciting enough to watch. Playoff sports in general is just more than exciting to watch because it is absolute and it is final in many different reasons. But the NBA as a whole is nothing but toxic and just makes me relish the fact that it is part of the Big Four when it comes to professional sports in North America, and just nothing seems to want to change here in the future. And for the good of the sport, unfortunately, nothing probably will change in the very near future.
Well said, Voldy. I think there's a lot of things that they do need to address. Especially, the fact that they just kind of let the players kind of run rug shot sometimes. And I think what you said with the shut up and dribble. I mean, the thing is, it's not even like for this situation with the Jimmy situation, it's not even political. The guy's just acting like an a-hole because he wants to be an a-hole. He's done it at various places, and he forced his way out, and the dude didn't even pay his freaking rent in Miami. No. Good Lord.
He's a bum.
He's a bum. And the thing is, it's like, well, see what he's doing in Golden State. He's kicking ass, and they're going to be, the team to beat. And it's just like...
ridiculous.
Just you wait. That's all I got to say. And I'm not putting that. I mean, the thing is Steph and them, things are great now. Just wait. That's all I got to say with that. So, there's a lot of issues. And with the Skims thing, I even forgot about that until you mentioned it.
Sadly,
I
it pops
mean-
up on my algorithm every once in a while, and I don't know why. It just does. Now everybody else's algorithms.
What's so great about it? I don't understand. They're comfortable. It's just because it's got her name on it. Like it's just I don't understand. I don't get it. So, well said, Voldy. To say the least. I think the jaw thing. I mean, this has gotten out of hand, and especially when you told him to stop doing that, and he did it again. And you just fine them. It's like, well, we can get them with their, get their pocketbooks. They want their money. Okay, yeah, right. To a point. But he's been a repeat offender. He has been. He needs to be suspended. That's what I think. They don't have a coach right now. And again, there's another team that got rid of their coach. I mean, there's dysfunction, but then, I mean, they're in the playoffs, and you just let them go like that. Oh, it's just,
I don't get it.
There's a lot going on there. There's just a lot. So. All right, we are out of the Temple of Wisdom. Voldy's enlightened us with his knowledge on the NBA and it being so cancerous. I think they need to go to the nearest hospital and do emergency surgery, the whole kit and caboodle. So, ARA tonight, it's stacked, man. We've got Ovi breaking the record. We've got Treylance going to the Chargers. And then we got Vladi signing the big deal. 14 years, $500 million, which is crazy in itself. Lamarjackson versus Dale Jr. Battle over number 8. And the Masters, Augusta, Georgia. It's happening this weekend. We will just make one of our picks. We'll just take somebody. We'll just pick someone. Go from there. So. All right, let's get it going then with some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
Just a quick update on the Wild game. End of the first. Wild are up 2-1. Let's go. Hey, keep it going, man. Just keep it going. Get the dub against these Sharks, and we can all be happy. So keep it rolling. I believe the Twins are up 1-0 still, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Keep an eye on that, too. So let's get it going with some ARA Voldy. Why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, probably one of the few times we'll actually lead off heading into the world of the NHL. A monumental moment this past Sunday where the Washington Capitals star forward, that being Alexovechkin, scored his career 895th career goal, surpassing Hall of Famer and legend Wayne Gretzky as NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader. Of course, this had taken place after a 2-goal affair the night prior, or the evening prior, the previous game, where the captain for the Washington Capitals did have a chance to score the record goal on an empty net. He decided he did not want to do it that way and do it the proper way. A goal scored at the time, of course, in his classic shot from the top of the circle, just ripping one past the goaltender against fellow Russian Ilya Sorokin of the New York Islanders, thus leading to the goal that broke the record. And on the game on Sunday, so happened to be the 1,487th career game, the same number of career games that it took Gretzky to reach his total at 894. So sports are rigged in every sense of the word when it comes to those numbers. But after it is all said and done, a couple games left in the regular season, Ovechkin still has another year on his contract for next year. With it being all said, at the time, he could very well end up with over 900 career goals at the end of his time for Ovechkin, leading into, of course, his post-career. Is it absurd or approved? At the end of it all, will Ovi's record of career goals in the NHL, will Ovi's record not be broken? Absurd or approved?
Ooh, I wouldn't say anytime soon. I'll put it like that. I don't think it's anytime soon, just because I think he's kind of solidified himself as one of the, or obviously first ballot Hall of Famer. Don't get me wrong. But I just think with this record, it's going to take some time before the next person's going to be up there to get there. I jokingly said to one of our wild listeners, or excuse me, viewers, I said, next is dollar bill Kirill. That's all I got to say. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? But no, I think it won't be broken for a while. Do I think it will be broken? I remember talking to somebody as this was going on. Actually, it was this past weekend. I was golfing with Papa Callahan and my former teacher and one of Papa Callahan's friends. He said that, I never thought Gretzky's was going to get broken, and there you go. So, I mean, it could be, it could be when we're 50 or 60, and this, a new kid comes on the block, and he surpasses that. So, but I'm not, I'm going to pull a Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah here, Voldy, and say, I don't think it's 100% that it's anything's 100%. But,
I see what you did there.
No, it's all fun and games for that. But no, I think it's definitely, it's possible. Do I think it's going to happen soon? No, I think it's absurd. I think that it'll happen at some point, but I don't think any time soon is kind of my answer to that whole thing. But congratulations to Ovi, and one last thing, bands make a dance. Bands make a dance. Bands make a dance. So, yeah, I'll go with that. Voldy, what do you got?
31 years after Wayne Gretzky did break the record previously held by Gordie Howe, it was 802 career goals, and it took Gretzky to break the record held by Gordie Howe, and eventually ending up with 894. Now, with Ovechkin, let's say he does get past 900. In general, if he goes through another season, it all really depends how the playoffs go. If they get an early exit, I would say that he comes back. But if Ovechkin wins the Stanley Cup this year with the Washington Capitals, it's done. He's retiring. No better way to go out on top than in. It gets a couple more here before the end of the regular season. Maybe flirts close to 900. But I feel like a whole nother season, if an early run, an early exit in the playoffs, that will certainly entice him to come back for another year. Now, a lot of people have been throwing out the math of how to go past and even get past this mark. Somebody said this, I believe it's the fellows over on the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and they said that they heard it from somebody that it would take somebody, a 10-year-old right now, he turns pro at age 17, take him 20 seasons of 45 plus career goals at that pace to break Ovechkin's record. So by the time they turn 17, 20 years later, they're 37, they would have a solid chance at 45 plus goals a season to break the record. Now, nowadays, that seems a little bit far-fetched, but you have guys like Austin Matthews. He gets injured a lot. Connor McDavid, definitely not afraid to put one in the back of the net and does score a lot of points on top of it. They certainly do have a good enough chance. But the way the game is kind of changing a little bit, you see a lot more of these guys coming up that are definitely a lot more finesse, and definitely takes a lot more team to support said guys on the ice on top of it. But we have seen some ridiculous play, and just the fact that Ovechkin battling from a broken leg the early going of the season and just continues from the play that he has in the early going of his career, where he was the hot young guy, then the middle years of where it's like, is this guy even going to be a consistent enough factor? Sure, he's scoring goals, but he can't win the big one. Disappointing playoff exits, couldn't get past the Penguins, winning a Stanley Cup after getting past the Penguins in the Eastern Conference, and now as the elder statesman is getting and garnering all of that respect of the fact that he is the all-time goal king. Is it going to be broken? It's not going to be anytime soon, but will it be broken? As Gretzky did say, records they have been made to be broken. So I think it's absurd. I think Ovi's record will get broken in our lifetime. We'll certainly see.
It'll be crazy though. I mean,
Right?
it would be crazy, nonetheless. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of the NFL and more moves being made as it is. Quarterback Treylance is signing a 1-year, $6.2 million deal with the Los Angeles Chargers after most recently his time in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys the last season plus. And of course, his rights being picked up by the Saskatchewan Roughriders out of the supplemental draft that they had in the Canadian Football League. So it looks like that Treylance and former Minnesota Vikings legend Taylor Heinicke are now the backups behind Chargers starting quarterback Justin Herbert. Of course, with the head coach, that being Jim Harbaugh, that him being, of course, a quarterback eccentric coach, that it will be an opportunity for Treylance to maybe get under the learning tree of the likes of Harbaugh, and of course, seeing of consistent enough play from Justin Herbert, even Heinicke getting there in the mix. Of course, the up and down career that has been certainly the least said by Treylance. Of course, him being a hot prospect out of NDSU, 1+ season his time there in a national championship run on top of it. You also throw in, of course, him being drafted 3rd overall by the San Francisco 49ers, poised to be a starter, ends up getting hurt. Hasn't really been the same ever since. He gets traded away to the Dallas Cowboys. Wasn't consistent enough in his playing to at least get enough time, even in a backup situation, for the Dallas Cowboys on top of it. So with everything considered in the time of Treylance and his NFL career, is it absurd or approved? Will Treylance be able to revitalize his career now as a member of the Los Angeles Chargers?
Well, I think the one advantage he has going for him right now is that he has Jim Harbaugh as his coach. Mm-hmm. And like you just said, he is very quarterback-centric, and he got the most out of Alex Smith and what he was able to do. Colin Kaepernick as well when he was with San Fran. I think this is a good fit for him just because, it's not like he's going to be competing for the job of starter or anything like that. He's going to be competing with Heinicke, and it sounds like another guy, one of your guys, Easton Stick, will not be back with the Chargers, unfortunately, but doesn't mean that he...
Unfortunately. Hey, you trade one NDSU quarterback for another. I'll take it. Both won national championships, so there you go.
One of them went to Marshall, though. That's one thing. So
that's also true.
Lance is only 24 years old. He is he's still a young kid. And, it's not, it's like, well, if Shanahan couldn't get anything out of him, who can? And it's like, well, I can think of a number of coaches that could. It's just, I think he just lacked some confidence when he first started because there were so many expectations for him to be the guy, and he had injury concerns, and then Brock Purdy was just killing it, and they're like, well, we can't shy away from him, and they just made the decision to say, he's done, this is how it's going to go. But I think with the Chargers, even if he wins the backup job, that's great news. Mm-hmm. For him, because who knows, if there could be a quarterback needy team that could maybe take him on and mentor him and things like that. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here because originally with the CFL I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, they probably see something that's not. Some of these NFL coaches see something that we're not seeing or something like that, which could be true, but. This, for them to go out and say, wait, hold on, let's get you, let's bring him to Los Angeles and learn with Herbert and everything like that. So I think he very well can. I'm going to give it my stamp of approval, and the reason why I'm doing this is because there's just it's made me a believer in some of these NFL coaches. And it kind of shows like, hey, you know what? Let's just see what he does in a different system. Maybe this system fits him better. And he could have some success. And what better way to have it with, Jim Harbaugh? I mean, good Lord, look what O'Connell's done these past few years. I mean, it's insane. Sam Darnold, the whole thing. I didn't think Sam Darnold would do this much this past year. So I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be Sam Darnold-esque. I mean, he might not even play this year. So I would say it's got my stamp of approval. I think he can. He definitely can. I got belief in the kid. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because of the fact that Treylance coming in the league, he came in while only starting and playing in 19 games in his college career. You look at a lot of the guys that have been drafted very high most recently. Treylance, Anthony Richardson, another really great case as well. These guys come in the league and they basically have one season of actually starting at the collegiate level. And I feel like they're selling when the stock is really high, but overall they're fizzing out before they can actually do something with it, as opposed to some of these guys that come into the NFL after 2, 3, maybe even 4 years of starting at the collegiate level. I mean, you get guys like Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. They're looking at 4, 5, to even 6 years starting collegiately, and those guys are poised to be pretty decent players at the professional level. You just wish that you would get guys like a Treylance and some of these guys that have the top end talent to commit to staying and getting as much experience as possible. Treylance, even coming out of high school too, he was pretty, obviously coming out of Marshall High School. I think it was at least 2 years starting, and even coming into college as well. The quarterback factory that is in North Dakota State. Sitting behind as the backup and then ultimately getting in and starting one full season. Then he gets that extra start with the COVID showcase, if you will, leading up to the draft. I felt like he should have at least stayed one more year, but he probably wasn't get much higher of a ceiling beyond that point. Lo and behold, he gets drafted 3rd overall. The Niners move up and get him. Now putting him in at least a place where he can at least get some learning and at least get an opportunity is really the big thing. Because, you got traded to Dallas. Look, Dallas is, a desert wasteland. It's basically the New York Jets, but with billions of dollars set behind it. It is just where quarterbacks go to die, basically. I mean, even the same with the New York Jets. But again, they've got a kooky, eccentric owner that pumps in money left, right, and center to at least, make things look good, as opposed to the Jets that say, yeah, we're bad, but we're going to stay bad, and there's not much else you can do about it. You want to fight about it? Question mark. But with Treylance, again, getting him at least around, Harbaugh and the staff that he puts around him, his history of working with quarterbacks, of course, through the college ranks and even up to the professional level with the Niners, with Stanford, with even Michigan too. There's been a lot of positivity, even guys that haven't stayed at those programs as well. You've seen guys like Alex Smith move on from, of course, in San Francisco, and his career turned out pretty well, barring the injury. Guys that went to Stanford, guys that went to Michigan and ended up transferring. There's been a lot of guys that have come through those programs at other places that have turned out pretty good collegiate careers into certain situations too. Now at the pro level could definitely be a very good option for Treylance to at least make that next step and hopefully be somewhat of, at least maybe put some good tape out there, if not be a suitable backup for, of course, Justin Herbert, if not Heineke on top of it, because those guys have definitely played a lot of ball over their time as well. So I think it's got my stamp of approval. I feel like this could be a good chance for Treylance.
You never know. You never know what can happen. I mean, Darnold went through, let's see, he went through like 3 teams before he got to the Vikings and then, balled out. So, the possibilities there. So, we'll see. All right. Money. Next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of Major League Baseball, and a surprising deal signed during the wee hours of the day from Sunday night into Monday morning. The Toronto Blue Jays and first baseman Vladimirguerrerojr Jr. are in agreement 14 years, $500 million. Is that American or Canadian or Dominican? Don't know on top of that, but yet there is a deal set in place to keep the 26-year-old four-time All-Star and, of course, son of Hall of Famer Vladimir Guerrero in Toronto for, of course, the length of said contract, barring anything that should happen. A very surprising move, even in the time with Vladdy and some rumors from this past offseason where he could end up, if not at the start of this season, if not the season after this current one, of where Vladdy could end up in the future. But a big deal being locked down for Toronto and for Vladdy, who is somewhat trying to become the face of the franchise, even though you have seen in some injuries that have followed up and some solid but below expectations the last couple of years. But things hopefully will turn around with, of course, Vladdy now locked up and, of course, in Toronto Blue for at least the next 14 years. Is it absurd or approved, even with the numbers that have been below said standards? Will Vladdy live up to the worth of his contract with this extension being signed with the Blue Jays?
I would agree. It's got my stamp of approval. Now, I get nervous with these big contracts in baseball because you never know what could happen 3-4 years down the road, even 2 for that matter. But I don't know. He's, people are like, oh, well, he's the son of Vladimir Guerrero and everything like that. It's like, yeah. But the thing is, the guy is productive. He's had some, obviously, like you just said, he's had some up and down years. But when you have a guy that's 26 that has been progressively good throughout his career so far, he's been a multiple All-Stars. He's been a multiple All-Star, effing All-Star, like Danny Heatley would say. And 50 and hashtag 50 and 07, right? I think that's what we got. So the main thing is that they have him locked up for the long term. They can kind of build off that as well. It seems like Toronto's kind of looking at things and saying, like, we need our, I mean, obviously I'm comparing apples to oranges in this, but it's like we have our Ohtani, for our team. We have our Juan Soto for our team and everything like that. So I think this is kind of them solidifying, like, this guy's going to be a Blue Jay for life. We love what he does, and he has been very good for the Blue Jays. So, off the cuff, I'd say it's got my stamp of approval. I think it's a good deal. I think you got to have kind of that face of the franchise, if you will, for your baseball team and everything like that. And I've seen him play. He's very impressive. So, stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you got?
Yeah, I definitely like Toronto locking down their guy because it's only getting more and more competitive in the AL East. Of course, Baltimore's on its way up with the young core that they have. Boston and New York, the Yankees, that is, definitely always continue to be an annoyance when it comes to signing free agents and try to get their way back into the mix there. So Toronto needs to do as much as they can to at least be able to contend, the way the season is panning out for them to start. Of course, they did sign Max Scherzer to a one-year deal, along with some guys, Anthony Santander, nice 5-year deal for him. But they do have some other guys in the on the team too. George Springer's been there for a number of years. Kevin Gausman as well in the rotation, along with Barrios on top of it. This team certainly does, on paper, have the merits, or at least have enough guys to definitely make a run. But when you have a guy like Vladdy Jr. in the lineup too, certainly quite an interesting. Very up, very down, but when he's on, he is a force to be reckoned with. But locking him down will certainly put a lot of Blue Jays fans at ease, knowing that he will be in that Toronto Blue for a good duration of his career. I think it's baseball too. I mean, a lot of these contracts, it's all funny money. It's not real. It's monopoly money at the end of the day too. And there's just no real regulation when it comes to salary caps or anything. It's basically how much money an owner wants to pump into the team and how much money they can get out of it. So Toronto's making the right investment and a big investment on top of it. It's got my stamp of approval.
And quick update, Twins are up 2-0, top of the 7th, one out.
Ah!
For now, just please win. Just for my sanity, just win, please. While they're up 2-1 as well. So just wanted to give an update before we move on to our next one, Voldy.
Well, this is a very interesting story, and they battle over the number 8. And LamarJackson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., believe it or not, are contesting, at least with the trade patent office, or trademarking and patent office, over who should have the rightful ownership of said number 8 as well. It looks like the short-lived battle came down to a decisiveness when it comes to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and, of course, JRM, that being that's JR Motorsports, and the number 8 on its merchandising as well. In a statement released by Dale Jr., it said, through the USTPO, that's the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we successfully secured the rights to a stylized number 8. Therefore, we will be moving away from the original JRM 8, as it's much more of a visual as opposed to a verbal number 8 that we have used since 2019. So the number 8 is much more accustomed being seen on the side of the red Budweiser number 8 car driven by Dale Jr. in his early years. We're looking forward to the remainder of an already successful season. Now, this really all came down to, of course, a little bit of trademarking and patenting issues with LamarJackson and trying to register the trademark Era 8 by LamarJackson. His filing argued that Earnhardt's attempt to trademark the particular version of the number 8 would create confusion among their consumers. So basically, it came down to a style of number 8 as opposed to the actual number within itself. Now, of course, the world of branding and making sure that everybody's making as much money as possible come down to basic which font they want to use for said number. But when it comes down to the end of it, is it absurd or approved with said number 8 within itself? Will you recognize the number 8 with LamarJackson over Dale Jr. by the end of LamarJackson's career? Because we already know that Dale Jr.'s career is over. He's now in the ownership and everything else. When you think of the number 8, will you think LamarJackson or will you think Dale Jr.?
I think there's a outside person to this.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins. That's what I think. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Just because it's Kirk Cousins.
Yep. Gotta do it.
But anyway, to this whole situation, because obviously, I wish both of them well, because you know what? There's a place that I work for that's actually a sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. So that's great for both. But the thing is that, look, I think they can come to an agreement here, whatever style, with namings and whatnot. It's two different sports. I know you want to differentiate. Everyone wants to get as much money as possible and whatnot. I understand that. But to answer your question, when it's all said and done, I feel like Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been, he's been a cornerstone. Even before that, his father was a cornerstone of NASCAR racing. And I don't want to disrespect anybody from that either. But, Lamar's, I hate to say it because I do really like what the Ravens are doing and whatnot, but Lamar hasn't been able to take them to where they want to go, and that is a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl. But I think I have to give the edge to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in this instance, just because how instrumental he is to the game, or to NASCAR in itself. He's an owner now. He's got plenty He's got all these drivers that he's managing and whatnot. He's doing, a fantastic job. Whereas Lamar Jackson, I think a lot, he's been a multiple-time MVP. We all know this. He's one hell of a player, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if he can win Super Bowl or two, then I think I would change my answer to Lamar. So as of right now, I'm going Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this point. So I'm going with Dale as well. And I think there's a lot of people that are big fans of NASCAR, and I don't want to disrespect anybody because there are a lot of diehard fans out there, and I'm giving them respect. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Voldy, who do you got?
I definitely think Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8, but it's been so long since Dale Jr. was in the number 8 that I think of him more in the Diet Mountain Dew number 88 car when he left the team that was racing with. I mean, it was such a shocking move when he went from the Budweiser number 8 and then he was in the was it Diet Mountain Dew, or it was like Amp Energy? I think it was
one
of
the dews.
I remember the white and the green. It was like a tradition. It was mostly white, a little bit of green. It might have been Diet Mountain Dew. Might have been that Amp Energy number 88. But I remember the 88 over the 8 a little bit more. But if you ask me if ands or buts about it, it's Dale Jr. and the number 8 red car, Budweiser, winning the Daytona back in the day. That redheaded SOB. Turn into the turn number 4. But look, no disrespect to Lamar. I love Lamar. I mean, he's a great quarterback. Same. And, I really wish he could win a Super Bowl just for the sake of, just of course getting it over with at this point. Him, Josh Allen, and the whole squad. Joe Burrow. I'd love to see Joe Burrow win a Super Bowl too on top of it. Of course, they got to get through Kansas City. Yeah, but I mean, there is some ways and means on top of it when it comes to certain registrations and obviously trademarks and patents on top of it. But I'm definitely going to remember Dale Jr. more with the number 8 as opposed to Lamar. So I think it's absurd. I think Lamar's going to have a hell of a career. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he already has one hell of a career on top of it. Most rush yards as a quarterback, multi-time MVP too, but still. Hasn't won the big one. So certainly be interesting how that all turns out. But I'm going to remember Dale Jr. in number 8 as opposed to Lamar wearing number 8.
And it's weird to say because I'm a big football guy, but, at the same time, I got to pay respect where respect is due. We actually do have a very big NASCAR fan chiming in here, and he is from PBL, Popcorn Bucket List. Dude, I cannot – side note real quick – I cannot wait for their episode coming up. I think tomorrow. I think it is when they release it. Have you been seeing this? I hate to go off a tangent here, but hold on. The Wild are up 3-2 now. I don't know how that changed. Let's go, baby. But I can't wait.
The Wild.
Yeah,
who just scored for the Wild too.
And who was it? Kaprizov. Oh, Jewel, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Jewel.
Yeah.
Oh, no, now it's 3-3. What the hell?
God, make it stop.
Oh, it's going too quick, man. This is crazy. But anyway, I can't wait for their episode tomorrow because have you been seeing on the socials medias the Minecraft movie? Teens are going nuts. They're throwing popcorn and stuff, throwing slushies at the screen because of something called a chicken jockey from Minecraft and stuff.
Was I the only person that thought the Minecraft movie was an April Fool's joke? Because the fact it was released on April Fool's Day? I literally thought the whole time, why are you releasing a movie on, April Fool's was what, a Monday? Why are you releasing it April
Tuesday.
1st?
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Why is a movie coming out on a Tuesday? This has to be a joke. Saying, I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
It was April 4th it came out.
It was April 4th.
Either way, close enough. I mean, I get it, but it's legit.
A joke the whole time. Yeah, okay.
It's legit. And apparently teens are throwing, the cops had to be called, Voldy. The cops had to be called because of all of this as well.
The Minecraft movie is going to be the new Rocky Horror Picture Show, or the Room.
That's why I'm waiting for for Nick and Ryan to talk about this whole thing. I'm so curious to know what's going on here. But anyway, he says this though: raise hell, praise Dale, as he would say here. And he also says when he first moved to Hendrick Motorsports, it was the Amp Energy car. So there you go.
Thank you.
So Nick's got you covered on that.
My man.
So
Thank you.
But yeah, the little short plug. Make sure to tune in Popcorn Bucket List tomorrow. So I can't wait to watch that episode and their thoughts on that whole thing. I'm sure the Rhino's got some thoughts on that whole thing as well. So, all right, it's that time. Let's talk Augusta Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of the PGA Tour, where white men ages 25 to 55 will now lose their goddamn minds for the next week plus because it is Masters Week. We head back to Augusta, Georgia, the first major championship of the season, of course, with the par 3 tournament or par 3 contest taking place today, leading up to round number 1 tomorrow. Everyone that is interested in golf or is even remotely heard of the game of golf is now losing their collective minds, me not being one of them on top of it. Now, of course, some of the favorites that will be there, of course, along with many others, Rory McIlroy, xanderschauffele, Ludwig Oddberg as well, of course, reigning champion Scottiescheffler, are amongst the favorites to bring home, of course, the Masters and the green jacket as well. Of course, being the great golf minds that we are here at MinneZona Sports Live, who do you see as your favorite to bring home the green jacket, and who do you also have as a dark horse to possibly win the Masters this upcoming weekend?
Okay, so I totally forgot it was Masters Week till like Monday. So on Monday,
exactly.
I was like,
I
crap.
don't care. I don't care. It's Masters Week. Great. Let who wins it Sunday at 5 p.m. I'm not going to watch a single hole of it all weekend.
And that's fine. I did. There's a lot going on, but I do. I tune in here and there. I really do. I will be honest, but I'm not going to tune in all day, every day. You know,
right.
I got stuff I got to do, you know. But the one thing I will say though, Voldy, is that I've been kind of roped in on some possible guys who could, you know, win. So let's start with my pick for sure. Okay. There's a lot to be said with Rory McIlroy. I mean, that's obviously people are like, oh, he needs to complete it. It's got to happen. But Scottiescheffler, I think, has been doing quite well. Jordan Spieth is always in the hunt and everything like that. John Rahm, he's struggled a little bit, but, you know, I'm going to, you know, I keep coming back to this name, and I just like, I just feel like it's time to finally do this. And and again, it could be somebody that's like, we're not even thinking of, like zero at all, no chance in hell type of thing. So my pick, I think it's kind of basic. I don't know if you want to put it like that, but give me Scottiescheffler. Give me the Chefmeister. I'm gonna go with Scottiescheffler.
Love it.
I don't want to say cop. You know, I'm not using it as a cop out. I just think that he's been playing really good golf as of late. I've liked
Scotty.
Yeah,
love it.
And you know, JJ McCarthy did dress up as him for Halloween last year. Remember that?
I did. Yeah, I do remember.
So
that, yeah.
I just like, I don't know, maybe the McCarthy effect's got it for wearing that. But dark horse, give me colinmorikawa. Give me Morikawa, like man. He's been money these past
solid dark horse.
Yeah.
So
give me Morikawa as the dark horse. He can be sneaky. He's a sneaky guy, and I think he could maybe sneak in there and get it done. But if Rory starts making noise and everything, I really hope he does win. You know, I felt bad for him.
Can't win the big one.
Yeah, and the thing is like he starts off well, then all of a sudden it just comes all crashing down. So, yeah, give me my pick is Scottiescheffler just because he's been there, done that, and then dark horse Colin Morikawa. Boom!
I like
there
that.
we go.
I
Voldy, what do you got?
I forgot about that. That's a solid dark horse pick. But
Thank you.
my guy, Prison Scotty, definitely the reigning champ. Make him 2-time back-to-back green jacket wearer. That'd be nice as well. I'm gonna go xanderschauffele. I don't know why. I just like the fact that he's definitely been in the mix. A lot of these majors, he's played well enough to definitely be up at the top, and a lot of success that he's had in the last couple of years for sure. So I'm going to go with Xander there as my pick for the Masters. But my dark horse, and a guy that, he's kind of been bouncing back and forth a little bit with some top 5, top 10 finishes. When he's on, he's definitely one to reckon with. But when he's off, he has kind of fallen hard a little bit. But the Masters definitely tends to bring out the best in a lot of people. Give me maxhoma. Maxhoma is my dark horse there to be the dark horse pick here for the Masters. Okay. So, yeah.
I like that. And again, it's just kind of fun, just to throw that out there. I know we haven't done this before, but yeah, we should definitely do this every year now, just because.
Just wait till we just get ripped in the comments by all these golf nerds. My
idiot.
brother, Eric Moser, Joe Clements, all those guys, Huntley's, all these guys that just eat, sleep, and breathe Masters golf that'll be watching hole after hole. They've got
I bet
7
Moser's ready to
with
roll.
all the different feet. Oh yeah, Moser's got 15 different bets set up and props.
I love it.
These guys are incensed.
Even with tennis with him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 3 a.m. He was talking about how he was betting on, or at least considering, I think you were there in that conversation, betting Australian Open at 3 a.m. in the morning, just quick the live bets. Like, dude is a gambling degenerate, and I love every sense of it. But when he's on, he is on.
Yeah,
and he is must-see TV.
But real quick, I almost got convinced with Spieth. I don't know why. When I saw him, I'm just like, man. But he's up there sometimes. He's up in the top 10, and then sometimes he kind of fades, and I don't know. I almost got convinced, but no, I'm taking Scotty, Prison Scotty, and Morikawa. So we'll go with that. We'll see what happens. That'll do it for ARA this time around. Great job with those, Voldy. Can't wait to see where our picks take us, and we'll go from there. Wild are tied 3. No, it's 4-3. What? I look away and it changes each time.
Macklin
what is
Celebrini? Macklin Celebrini wasn't even alive when Marc-Andre Fleury made his NHL debut. The guy's 19 years old.
Oh my goodness. More on that in a little bit. But Shield shoutouts tonight. We've got a lot of awesome Shield shoutouts, some retirements, some Hall of Fame-ish, and also National Championship, one of them Minnesota as well, and whatnot. So, and plenty more with that. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, it is time for Shield shoutouts. So, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, we do have to send a Shield shout-out and congrats to Minnesota Lynx legends Mayamoore and Sylviafowles, as they have been announced as members to an absolutely stacked class of 2025, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Mayamoore and Sylviafowles will be also joined along the likes with Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and the 2008 U.S. Men's Olympic basketball team, the Redeem Team, believe it or not. And there will also be Chicago Bulls coach and 2-time NCAA champion Billy Donovan will be a part of the class as well. So quite poised to be the greatest Hall of Fame basketball class of all time with the class of 2025. So congrats to Mayamoore and Sylviafowles and the entire 2025 class, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, of course, the UConn Huskies women's basketball team winning their 12th national championship, and finally a national championship and a ring for future first overall draft to the WNBA, Minnesota's own Paigebueckers, who's been in the limelight, of course, with the UConn Huskies, and well before her career collegiately out of Hopkins, Minnesota, and of course in the program that she came out of. Finally, a national champion after an up and down career at UConn, cementing her legacy as one of the greats in the world of UConn women's basketball. Do have to wish the best of luck in retirement to 7-time Pro Bowler and just out of this world NFL wide receiver Julio Jones officially signed his retirement papers, ending a very stellar career in his time, of course, with multiple franchises in his career, but most notably with the Atlanta Falcons. And when he was on the field in his prime, an absolute weapon and an absolute problem on the field for the Falcons back in his time, and came up on the short end, of course, of that Super Bowl 51, the 28-3 game. But still, a couple of things go their way in the early goings, could have ran away with that contest, but again, came up on the very short end. And sadly, we do have to say rest in peace in a very, very tragic incident that did happen in the Dominican Republic this week. Rest in peace to a former longtime MLB reliever and a guy that you would always keep an eye on at the MLB trade deadline to see where he was off to. Octavio Don't Tell, as well as Nelsie Cruz, the sister of former Twins player Nelson Cruz, both sadly passed away in an incident that took place at a music event where the roof collapsed at an event in the Dominican Republic. Still, many people are still trying to find loved ones and also learn of their whereabouts, including the likes of Pedro Martinez's some family members still yet to be identified, and at least trying to find their whereabouts in an ongoing and tragic situation down in the Dominican Republic. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those family members and people still trying to find their loved ones here at this time. And well, that's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts here this week.
Well, that was very good Shield shout-outs. Congratulations to Julio Jones. Had run-in with Will Rattel as well when he was with the Falcons, so that was pretty cool. Rattel says he was pretty cool, so
I still say Julio Jones with dreads still better of a player than Julio Jones with the clean-shaven head. Hot take.
And this was when he was drafted, him and Roddy White, and Tony Gonzalez, that was
Matt Ryan just slinging that pill everywhere. They put up some points back in the day.
Devontae Freeman and Burner Turner before that, all that, a lot of good players.
No-name defense.
True,
They gave up points.
Yeah, they gave up points. And Paige Buckets, I mean, good Lord. I mean, what redemption. Had that really bad injury to start off her UConn career, and then to come back, finally be a national champion, number 1 overall pick. I said to I think it was my younger sister who's big into WNBA too. I said, I think the Lynx should just give up all their players to go trade for Paige Buckets.
We got the expansion draft coming up here, of course. What is it? Is it Golden State or whoever? The Valkyries or whoever, that new franchise. They get the first pick, so it's pretty much a lock-in or whatever for whoever it is. Yeah. I know. We got to talk to Zappa about that.
We got to talk to Zappa, yeah. Speaking of Zappa, and congrats to mayamoore, Sylviafowles. Much deserved. Congrats to all the 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Melo!
Stacked.
Melo getting in for sure is awesome, too.
So does that mean that Melo gets 2 rings then as a Hall of Fame because he was on the Redeem team in 2008?
That's a great question.
Dwight Howard?
I think that's another one, too. I think that needs to be answered. I really do. I have no idea.
I've seen it where, like in the WWE Hall of Fame, some guys have gone in twice as member of themselves, and obviously as a part of a faction, if you will.
Yeah.
Yep. X-Pac was a guy who's got 2 Hall of Fame rings. So
there you go. Yeah, I think that could be, too. It wouldn't surprise me. So, anywho, that great job with Shield. Shout-outs this week, Voldy, and, so far, 4-3, Wilder down 1. There was just a big fight. I'll have to check that out as we close things off. And quick update, Twins are up 3-0, bottom of the 8th. So it's looking very good for the Minnesota Twins. They need this win, and they need it badly. So we'll keep an eye on that. And, yeah, guys, you know the deal. We've got merch. We got the sweatpants, the shirts, stickers, hats, the whole kit and caboodle. We got the winter stuff, if you're interested, obviously, if you're going to be prepared for next winter as well. We have those coming your way as well, so we can keep you up to date. We got the stickers, you know the deal with those, got plenty of those to pass out. Thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers. Make sure you check out W2 Performance with Will Rattel, www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check out his YouTube page as well. A lot of daily uploads from him there. I just saw him like deadlifting 600 pounds or something like that. Just an absolute, just
show off.
He is, yeah, it is a show off. But he's a hell of a. He's well built. Let's just say he's well built.
Good for him.
He's different. Yeah, he's different. And then make sure you check out the Brotherly Ballers podcast. Tyler Hermann, Jack Vickers. They'll be starting up sometime soon. And check out TLS Performance. Our guy, Troy Stoudemire Jr. Make sure you check out all his stuff. Very similar to what Rattel does. And then check out PBL, Popcorn Bucket List, Nick Dahlhoff, and Rhino Meyerberg. Omni Entertainment, new episode coming out tomorrow, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but make sure you check it out. So that's going to do it for episode 234. We crammed in a lot, but we got a lot said. There's a lot going on with Minnesota sports right now. More negativity than positivity, but we're going to try to get that balance, or more positivity up here, and so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, Vikings news can pop up anytime. So
Draft's coming up soon.
Draft's coming up. You know the deal, Voldy. The draft special is coming their way. So we will keep you up to date on that as well. So with that being said, as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.